Okay, so today's lesson on writing haiku, so that we may include them in our sit spot journals, is about kireji. But first, let's review. So far, we've learned that haiku are short poems about nature. We've learned that they should be said in one breath. You do not have to follow that 5-7-5 syllable pattern that you might have learned in another year. And that yesterday we learned haiku contain a kigo, or a season word, so that in each haiku we know what season it is. If we look back to yesterday's example, on a barren branch a raven has perched, autumn dusk. The season word, or the kigo, is pretty obvious. I hope it's autumn, because that's actually the name of the season. But we talked yesterday also about how some of those words don't have to be the actual name of the season. You know, if someone said to you, flower, you'll probably think spring. If you wrote in your poem, um, leaf, probably think autumn. Today's lesson is this: haiku contain kireji, or a cut word. Now, kireji in Japanese means cut word or cutting word. However, in English haiku, we don't oftentimes use a word. When haiku is written in Japanese, they do use actual nonsense words to cut their poem into two unequal pieces. We often, though, use in English punctuation marks of all kinds, and I have two examples for you here. So back to yesterday's haiku example: on a barren branch, a raven is perched, autumn dusk. The kireji is this hyphen right here. This hyphen breaks the poem into two unequal pieces. The first two lines are one piece, and the third line is the second piece. And oftentimes, almost always, haiku in some way or another are broken into two unequal pieces. Now, you might break your haiku up with the first line like this, and then the next two. You can even break your haiku up in the middle somewhere of the second line, anywhere you'd like. This particular example, though, happens to be broken up after the second and before the third lines. The purpose of a kireji is for the person, the reader, to just stop and help them think. Because something we'll learn tomorrow is that all haiku can contain multiple comparisons. They're actually a bit like puzzles, and figuring out the comparison is part of the enjoyment of reading haiku. But that's tomorrow. For now, just know that when you write haiku, you should try to include kireji, a cut word, which is really in English a punctuation mark. Could be a comma. Here it's a hyphen. Could be an exclamation mark. Could be a period. Could be a question mark. Could be anything you'd like. Could be an ellipsis, those three dots. Let's take a look at another example. This example reads, snow at dusk. Our pot of tea steeps slowly darker. Can you find the kireji in this example? You've got it. The kireji here is a colon. And in this example, it separates the first line, the first part of the haiku, from the next two lines, the second part of the haiku. Again, it's an unequal splitting of the haiku so that we can pause, we can think, and as we'll learn tomorrow, it'll make the comparison of two things sort of stand out a little bit better. All right, so when you write your haiku today and tomorrow and forevermore, not only try to contain a kigo, a season word, but also kireji, a cut word, or in this case, some sort of exclamation mark. I'm sorry, an exclamation mark, a punctuation mark that breaks your poem into two unequal pieces. Okay? I guess one final question is, just for practice, in this second example that I'm sharing with you today, snow at dusk, our pot of tea steeps slowly darker. Can you find the kigo? What is the season word? If you said snow is the kigo, the very first word of the poem, you were correct. This is a poem that takes place in winter. and most likely inside because a pot of tea is steeping. And that happens usually inside over a stove. All right, anyways, talk more about this tomorrow. So today, remember, haiku contain kireji, a cut word, which in English is oftentimes a punctuation mark of some kind, any kind, that breaks your poem into two unequal pieces. I can't wait to read what you wrote. Let me know if you have any questions.